What's up? What's up? What's up? Oh, let me turn my shit down. Nah, fuck it. Leave it here. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, this I'm the man up in these parts. Yo, yo, yo. What's goody? Yo, yo, yo. Ooh, ooh. Yo, yo, yo. Excuse me. All right, y'all. What's good, everybody? Oh, first off, the bowing. All right. Like how the Cowboys and the Commanders got to do us after last night. All right. All jokes aside, welcome to another stream. Now, as far as I was saying, like, damn, why you got this little microphone like you a part of like the Temptations and shit? Well, guess what somebody did with this shit right here? You can't see it. I can't put it out far enough and breaking this shit more. But let's just say somebody broke the goddamn So you know how there's like a little arm thing where you can extend the microphone and shit? Somebody ended up breaking that. So I got to use this. This might be like a better quality anyway. But I do like to convince using the other one. Either way, it doesn't even freaking matter. Doesn't freaking matter, man. Doesn't matter. All right. So a few things you got to get out the way. First off, like, comment, subscribe. However this thing work on Twitch, y'all know what to do, bro. Follow your boy. All social medias is at I am Bruce Leroy. TikTok is it's Bruce Leroy BIH. We got a few announcements to make. So at the end of the day, I got to do a better job on Saturday. I really do. Because I said I was going to stream the Oregon and Indiana game, and guess who the hell did not stream the Oregon and Indiana game? This guy right here. So I'm not going to give y'all a whole speech and spiel and shit like that. We're just going to have to do a better job of being a person of their word. And just accept accountability for my shortcomings and move the hell on my life. And that's pretty much where I'm at. Turn up just a little bit more. That's pretty much where I'm at. I'm at the point in my life where I'm just like, you know what, man? We didn't do the right thing, but let's start being accountable for our actions. I think that's very important to be accountable for our actions for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much that's all I gotta really say about that. I just I gotta do a better job making sure that when I say I'm gonna stream, unless it's something completely out of my control, make sure you do that. All right. But lucky for you guys. So here's how today's gonna work. Okay. So today's festivities. So I'm gonna talk about several games that I see. So I watched Indiana, Oregon, and then I was debating to myself. I said, "Yo, should I watch Auburn in Georgia or USC in Michigan?" And I ended up watching. I just got to pull something up real quick. Indiana, Oregon. Yeah, so for those that don't know or haven't been watching my streams, just popped up in here. I went to Indiana University, Bloomington for half a semester, for one semester, which is basically half the year. And because I couldn't afford it, I basically was kicked out of school. But that's neither here nor there. Let's have a conversation about, God damn, they're number 3 now? What the fuck? Yeah, so I want to have a quick conversation about Indiana, Oregon. So here's how that's going to work, okay? So the Indiana, Oregon game, we're going to start off with that first. We're going to do we're going to talk a little bit about the Michigan and USC game, which I'm so happy. Thank God I had the wherewithal to be like, you know what? Something tell me this going to be the better game. And I was right. I'm so glad I ended up watching the Michigan USC game. And then I tried to watch the Seattle and the Jaguars game, but I got busy doing a lot of shit. What was the other game that I looked at? I'm trying to look. I got a bunch of notes here. What the hell was the other? I know I looked at another game. I watched the 49ers and the Buccaneers game. So I did watch that. I watched the Lions and the Chiefs, and I tried to watch both of the games yesterday. So I definitely saw the Bills and Atlanta in full, and we're gonna watch the highlights to the Bears and Commanders game. I end up like tried to bits and pieces because I'm gonna be honest with you. The way they designed a doubleheader is low-key stupid, and I'm gonna tell you why. Number one, okay, if you know both of these games are good, why in the hell? Okay, if you're gonna do the doubleheader, stop making fans choose between the two games. Most fans would like to watch both of the games, okay, especially because these were some solid Bills and the Falcons and the Bears and Commanders. These are some solid matchups. So for the life of me, I don't understand. I can't comprehend why would you just go about it didn't make a lot of sense to me. Them sitting up here and like putting the Bears and Commanders in the midst. Like, if you're gonna put it on in the middle of the first game, the least you could do us a solid and like leave the viewers able to watch the game. So like when the Bills and the Falcons finish, right? Allow us to come in like around halftime, like going right into the third and fourth quarter. Don't have the goddamn game. Like number one, I'm totally against you putting on a second game in the midst of the first one because we all wanted to watch both of the games. And also, here's another thing you guys could do too. Instead of trying to fit two games in one, right? Because listen, if you're gonna do that, you might as well did what you did with it was the Raiders and Chargers, and I forgot what was the previous game before that. I don't remember and I don't care. Matter of fact, I can look it up. Let's not be lazy. Let's look it up. MNF matchups. Come on, give me a break. Come on now. Jesus Christ. All right, we got a phone for it. What the fuck? Are you serious? God damn. What was it? That was week 6. Yeah. So they had Tampa Bay and Houston, and they had the Chargers and the Raiders. See, I don't like this part because you're trying to make fans stay up to midnight like it's not a work week or a school week for some of y'all. That to me is fucking lame. Sunday is Sunday night football. It is what it is. I'm cool with that. But this shit right here was just beyond dumb. But I'd rather you have this format, like if we're talking like as far as like taking the lesser of the two evils, I'd rather you keep this format than to do this dumbass format what you did yesterday and cost the fans that actually want to see both of the games. And here's another thing. Here's the perfect scenario what you can do instead. Have the motherfucking doubleheader. Have the second game be on Tuesday. Have it at the exact same time. Ain't shit going on Tuesday anyway. Have it at the exact same time. I don't know why the NFL is doing this. I don't know what's the money play behind this shit, whatever the case may be, but it's actually irritating. And it was irritating that I was available to watch both of the games in its entirety, and I had to miss the vast majority. Like I caught enough of the game to know what was taking place. But again, most fans want to watch both of the damn games. Don't sit up there and literally had a game. Again, the worst case scenario, you could have had the fans come in right at the beginning of the second half. Have the slot come in. Have the second game slot come in so that way when the Bills and the Falcons game is done, we're literally entering into the second half of the Falcons. I keep mixing up the goddamn. I cannot. For some odd reason, every time I'm about to say the fucking matchup, I've been literally either stuttering or fucking. I don't know what's going on with me. So let me redo this. Okay, let me do this again. Rewind. Please be kind and rewind. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. All jokes aside, right? So right at the end of the Bills and the Falcons game, bro. Literally, again, the ideal thing to do would be to have the second game be on Tuesday, right? Or let's just say, okay, you don't want to do that. You want to have two games at the same time. Bro, have the motherfucking Bears and the Commanders game right after the Bills and the Falcons game. Wow, we did not start at one time. Oh my God, saying the matchup. Wow, that took like 4 fucking times. But anyway, yeah. So that shit was low-key annoying. All right. So without further ado, I'm trying to see what else I wanted to talk about today. Yeah. So we're going straight to the Indiana-Oregon game. So it was a very interesting football game, to say the least. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know what the fuck this head coach was on. What's his nigga name? What I put his name down as? Well, what is his actual name? What I say? What's this guy's name? What is his name? Why did I not put this guy Why not put this goddamn coach's name up here? I was stupid. I just look up the fucking coach's name. Who's the head coach for Indiana? Kurt Kignetti. I ain't gonna hold you, bro. This nigga's so I'm not gonna lie to you. I didn't watch the full game, but I watched like the second half of it. I'm not gonna hold you. And listen, credit to him for turning this program around and actually making Indiana football relevant again. Because I noticed, I think, not necessarily last year, maybe last year, but I say the last 3-4 years, Indiana's been trying to come up, and then finally with this coach. So shout out to him for turning the program around. But I have to say this. This shit was just beyond fucking weird. Let me show you how this nigga was at the halftime press conference. Let me show you this. This shit was the weirdest combination of fucking sassy and assertive that I've ever seen in my whole fucking life. Okay, coach, what do you guys have to do in the second half to finish strong and win the football game? Well, I mean, so far we're getting a good pass rush. We could get to the quarterback a little sooner. You know, we're letting him stand up too much. You got to sit down. You got to sit down so we can perform some activities on him. Yeah, we're getting there. But at the same time, you know, we got to try a little harder. We got to work harder, all right? We got to be like a brick wall, okay? Yeah. Okay, sure. Thank you. What the fuck was that? I don't know what the fuck that coach was on. That coach was bugging the fuck out, bro. That shit had me rolling. This nigga was like, it was a weird ass combination of like fucking sassy and aggressive. It was the weirdest shit, weirdest combo I ever seen. All right. So, it was a pretty interesting, the little bits, you know how before the second half starts, they try to, whoever's just tuning in, they try to like give you clips of what happened in the first half and things of that nature. It was pretty much an about even game, to be honest with you. So here was the first half stats. I don't know why I'm reading this. I just want to create conversation, right? So we can get rid of this tab right here. I promise you, it's not a corner one. But anyway, moving the hell forward. So Fernando Mendoza in the first half was 10 for 15, 110 yards. And Indiana was 1 for 5 on third down. On the other side, you had the Oregon quarterback, Dante Moore. He was 11 for 17. I don't know what the fuck I put here. I think it says 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. But he was sacked 3 times. So one thing I got to give Indiana a lot of credit for, and this is something that I feel like is going to be able to, I don't think they're a team that can get to a national title, but they're definitely a college football playoff team for sure. But, you know, one thing I feel like that is the biggest standout for Indiana is their pass rush. Their pass rush, their front seven is legit. They definitely, to be able to get pressure, right? With Oregon, again, and you guys know how I feel, right? As a Midwest kid, I can't fucking stand the fact. Now, again, I think for entertainment purposes, it's good because, more competitive teams face each other. But at the end of the day, you could work around that and fit them in your schedule. But I hate to this goddamn day that they decided to merge the Pac-12 with the fucking Big Ten. But nonetheless, that's not really my point. My biggest point is for Indiana, we're talking about Indiana University. We're not talking about the goddamn basketball team. I was with Bobby Knight and all them guys. We ain't talking about the basketball team. We talking about the football team. Their front seven all game long, especially in that first half, getting 3 sacks. I think they ended up getting 9 sacks out the game. Let me double check to make sure my math is correct on that. No, they ended up getting 6 sacks. Damn, you was way the fuck off. Way off. I'm not blessed. All right, anyway, going back to what I was saying. This pass rush was legit. They was really in his face. The pass rush, when the offense sputtered because the run game didn't get really going with Roman Hemby until the second half. So, as you can see, at night, well, y'all can't see, but I can see. If you go look at his highlights, or if you go look at the box score, right? Or you search it up on Google, you search the motherfucking shit up on Google on how to read a fucking book and be literate and act like that English is your first native fucking language. Okay, so Roman Hemby, 19 carries for 70 yards and 2 touchdowns. The majority of that took place in the second half. The run game didn't really get going for, I don't know why the fuck I keep doing this shit. But the fuck is wrong with me, dog? Okay, so the run game did not really get going until the second half. So majority of what you see here, and that's a solid day. But a majority of the stats that you see here for Roman Hemby ended up occurring in the second half. I feel like Oregon for the most part did a really good job of stopping the run all the way up until that point, right? So just reading off a little bit of the first half stats. So Indiana had 165 yards, total yards to Oregon's 203, 6.3 yards per play for Indiana versus Oregon's 5.3. 11 first downs for Indiana, 10 for Oregon, 2 for 2 in the red zone for Indiana, 1 out of 2 for Oregon. The biggest stat is time of possession. So 12 minutes and 46 seconds for Indiana, 17 minutes and 14 seconds for Oregon. Oregon was able to, hold in the ball. Obviously, having a longer time possession definitely helps a lot. That's not really telling you shit. But anyway, the biggest player that really caught my eye and got my attention, we're talking about individual performance-wise. And at the end of the day, we'll see what happens down the road. Maybe I'm bugging. But I have a good feeling this guy's going to be an NFL prospect. Number 13 for Indiana. I'm trying to figure out what his name was. Well, we can look it up. Elijah Surratt, a really, really good football player. We're talking about, because here's the thing. Here's how Indiana ended up coming back in the game, right? And I'm going to be honest with you. I got to keep it real with you. And a lot of people are hyping up Dante Moore. And maybe this just was a one-off game. And I will also be a person to admit that I haven't really been keeping up with Oregon. This is actually my first game that I've actually seen Oregon in action. But I have to be honest with you. Indiana's offense, to me, is not potent outside of Surratt. Surratt is a really good player. I could see him. We'll see as the year goes along, and I don't know. Well, actually, I could look up to see what year he's in. Elijah Surratt. Be Elijah Surratt with those catches for sure. He's a senior. I don't know. I honestly, I really can't. I don't know. Because I feel like that he could be solid for somebody, for a team in the NFL. At the very least, a depth piece. He has good size. He has good speed. He has a really, really good catch radius. And that was something that definitely ended up catching my eye for sure. So I don't know. I feel like that, Sarai is a good enough player to be able to play on Sunday and maybe could surprise a lot of people. But I don't know, given he's been in there 4 years and given what his major is, I don't think the guy has any intentions. And before it, so the guys with sports and recreation management. But that's not really. I'm keeping my opinion to myself. But anyway, I feel like that Elijah Sarratt could be a very, very good football player for some franchise, and put in the right system and put in a offense where a big body receiver with a good catch radius and solid speed, I feel like he can thrive on some NFL teams. I really think, again, I don't know where his career is going because he's a senior. So he's been in college for like 4 years. But I'm going to be honest with you, I could see him genuinely playing on Sunday. I really could. I don't know if he plans on entering the NFL draft at all, but I could definitely see a team, especially a team that, is, in a run heavy team, but needs a guy. Like, I feel like maybe like a Drake London-esque prototype is what I'm looking at here when I watch Elijah Sarratt's game. And Henry did some good work with the receptions. But I'm going to be honest with you, Indiana as a whole offense holistically, I'm not feeling. I'm really not. Like, I don't think their offense, number one, their run game was completely shut down in the first half, right? I don't think Oregon's front seven was really good, and they definitely showed up and showed out for a majority of the second half. But you're going to be facing much tougher teams down the road, and if you literally get held to being one dimensional again, I don't think this guy Fernando Mendoza is necessarily bad, but I don't think he's really that good either to be able to lead this offense against tougher teams like Alabama. We'll see what other teams like Miami, for instance, right? Especially in the games, because games like Alabama and games like Miami, even Ohio State, right? You're going to have to score a lot to stay in these football games. And even teams, I would say, like USC. I think USC is a strong playoff contender for sure. And I think the sky is the limit for that football team. But we're going to table the USC conversation when we have a discussion about Michigan and USC. I want to stick with Indiana and Oregon first. So I feel like the majority of the second half, again, the biggest takeaways was this. The run game finally got going for Indiana. What ended up happening as a result of him finally getting his feet under him was that opened up the passing game for Indiana. Indiana's front seven kept them in the game. And even Oregon's front seven kept them in the game as well. But again, for Indiana, I think the biggest thing was their run game opened up the offense, allowed their playmakers, particularly number 13, that guy Sarratt, to really, go to work, go to town, and for Mendoza to make some plays. Now, Mendoza did throw a very, very bad interception. I want to see if I took notes on exactly what was it. By the way, there was a very questionable decision by the Indiana coach. So they were lining up for a field goal. Okay, and it was a very long one. I'm trying to see what else. Yeah. So the part that I caught was like inside of 2 minutes of the first half. For the life of me, and I really don't understand this, right? I don't quite get how. Did I write the kicker's name down? We can look it up. I knew I was not crazy. Something told me, because I'm like, wait a minute, hold up. They felt like there was 2 kickers on this football team. The guy who hit, I think, what was it, the game winner? Let me double check that, make sure that's correct. What I'm saying. Yeah. The guy who ended up hitting the game winner. Unless it was a touch. Let me see. Let me go through my fucking notes and stop making shit up. Because I don't. That wasn't no goddamn game, man. I think there was a field goal being called because I'm looking at my notes and I wrote a question, why did they go with a different kicker? And that was in my fourth quarter notes. So yeah, I think, yeah. So the guy Brendan Frank, right? He was the one that hit the 58-yarder. But here's the thing for Indiana, it was very weird because they had enough time where they could, I don't care how big a leg somebody got. You're asking a lot out of a kicker. A kicker should not have to be in position to hit a 58-yarder unless there stays beyond your control. Like, the defense is doing a really good job holding you guys from being able to advance the ball, and you absolutely have no choice. That, I think it makes sense to hit a 50. If you're in range and you have to hit a 58-yarder, go ahead and do that. But other than that, I'm being real with you. I don't understand because Indiana had one timeout, right? So they had enough time to be able to run one more play at the end of the first half to be able to get themselves in better field position. I don't know, because for me, I feel like that timeout that they took, right, because they decided to take a time, you're just icing your kicker at that point. And all of that time that you wasted, you could have literally had that time to go move up the field to put your kicker in a better position to make the field goal. So that to me was weird. But the guy ended up having enough of a leg to be able to hit the 58-yarder. So it is what it is with that. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it. Trying to figure out what was the other stuff that I wanted to have a conversation about. I feel like also, and here's the thing too, and I feel like that this is maybe for Indiana, I kind of understand because I feel like that from a standpoint of roster wise, I feel like Oregon probably has a better roster, right? Because they're more of a football centric team than Indiana. But I felt like that one thing that kind of kept these football teams outside of Indiana finally breaking away towards the end. I feel like there was, especially for Oregon, I think there's a thin line between being safe with the football and I think being super conservative. You got to be able to dictate the game. It's not enough to just be able to be like, okay, like, it's good to be able to react to like, okay, this is what the defense is giving me. And that's great and all. That's all fine and dandy. But in the same breath, I feel like that, as a football team, you got to go out there and play your game. And you got to make the other team adjust to what you're doing. And that's not to say you completely ignore and devalue what the other team is bringing. But in the same breath, when you go out there with a game plan and you go out there and you're looking to get a win, you plan, you strategize, and you come in and say, yo, this is what we're going to do to this football team. And that's what we're doing. So ain't nothing that nobody can do about it on that other squad. We don't give a damn about what the other, like, you kind of have to. But then again, it's about it's about being assertive and applying the pressure and then seeing and adjusting during the game. But I feel like that both of the teams, whatever game plan that it ended up being, it's about dictating the pace. And then if whatever's going on with the game plan or what you guys coming up with to win the football game, if that doesn't end up working, then I feel like, okay, maybe somewhat reacted to what the defense is doing. But I feel like that if you had enough preparation and you did what you're supposed to do leading up to the game, your job as a football team is to dictate the pace. Like, yo, listen, this is what we're doing. This is how we're doing it. We're going to make the other team adjust to us, not the other way around. And then, if your plan coming in doesn't work, then you be ready to make adjustments. But I feel like that your first mode of thought should be in enforcing yourselves upon the other team. That's just my personal opinion on that. Trying to figure out what else I wanted to have a conversation about. But yeah, that was definitely a terrible that interception that Mendoza threw. And again, I just overall I'm not really impressed with Indiana's offense. I feel like Indiana, if you get into a position where you're facing a team like a Miami or Alabama, where you're going to have to score, and even I would say I would throw in Ohio State, where you have to score in points and bunches. It might be a you score, I score affair just to keep up with the pace. Even USC, I feel like that down the road, that football team is going to have a hard time because you got to be able to turn because you're not stopping these other teams. It's just not happening. They have the far superior roster, and that defense, that front seven, you'll be lucky to get a couple 3-and-outs. And what you do with those opportunities, specifically for Indiana, it matters a ton. So how you take advantage of those opportunities, because with teams like USC, with teams like Ohio State, Alabama, the big dogs, you got to be able to keep up pace scoring with those football teams. And you notice, and you pay attention to pretty much all of Alabama's games, all of Alabama's games are high scoring. Even I would say, even some the Miami games that I ended up watching, these are high scoring football games. So if you can't put points on a board and you don't have the personnel to do it, again, it's about coming in with an aggressive mind state and understanding who you have on your ball club. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand your personnel. You got to understand what your team can and can't do. You got to understand the limitations. It's not to say that you come in thinking that, we're weak, but you just got to understand, okay, we're dealing with a far superior roster with a lot of depth, especially with the wide receivers. Like a USC, like Ohio State, like a Alabama, so on and so forth, when they get to the big dogs of this, right? You got to understand, okay, we got to figure out a way to put the ball in the end zone and be able to do it at I don't want to say a constant rate. You got to be able to consistently get in the red zone and come away with points. If you're gonna beat those guys with those teams that I just mentioned before, and there might be some more teams, but I feel like that's at the very least that's going to be the barometer. Those are the teams that I feel like they're really going out their way to make some noise. Okay. Oregon's front seven, again, definitely kept them in the game. One thing I will say, though, and this is something that, it might have contributed to their loss, their corners have to do a much better job. Their corners played the wide receiver too. They did. They need to understand, I don't know what it is about these Oregon corners, but you got to be able to trust in your ability to cover a wide receiver. One thing I noticed, and I'm not saying that I know everything, whatever, but one thing I noticed about a cornerback that's not really as good, they tend to overplay the receiver. They don't even hesitate to be like, okay, let me try to see if I can cover him without, obviously you got to put hands on them at the line of scrimmage. That's very important to be able to knock, even if the person's better than you. I feel like that being able to put your hands on a receiver to deter their route a little bit, or in a way mess with them from being able to run their route in full. I feel like that's very important. Even if you can't necessarily guard them, right? Just being able to just put hands on them to be able to give the person something to think about, keep the wide receiver occupied from running their route in full. I feel like that's very important. What I felt like the Oregon cornerbacks were doing, they were not trusting in their ability to be able to keep up with the wide receivers of Indiana. And really the only person on Indiana that I felt like that really, was capable of making some really, really big plays was number 13, Surratt. Everybody else, I feel like that they were guardable, right? So Oregon, just way too many PIs because, you're not trusting in your technique. You're not trusting in your own ability to cover the player. So you feel like you have to overcompensate by being way too handy with the wide receivers. And I also felt like that ended up killing them. That was part of the part of the contributions and them losing the football game. I think the Oregon kicker did end up missing the kick. Don't quote me. And I think they did. Anything else I wanted to look at? Handwriting is garbage. Oh, it was a pick six. It was a pick six. And by the way, that was the pick six that Mendoza ended up throwing. That was his second interception throughout the whole year. So, that's pretty good. You got a guy that's good with the system and know how to take care of the ball. That's very important. Trying to figure out what else. And I gotta be honest with you. I really have to be honest with you. And it's like people are gonna get upset, but I gotta keep it real. Okay. And I think we're gonna move on from it. I'm gonna be honest with you. Dante Moore's overrated. And here's why I say he's overrated. I haven't watched him much this year. From what I heard, he's been coming through with clutch drives. And the irony of it all was when they was talking about how clutch he was, he threw an interception, 1 or 2 plays going into the drive. Into a potential game-winning drive to try to turn things the other way. I think he ended up throwing 2 interceptions this game. But I'm going to be honest with you. You're going to be facing worse, more competitive teams than Indiana. Right, you are in a. Let's see what the rest of their schedule looks like. This will be very interesting. See what the rest of their schedule looks like. So their most competitive football team is USC. Washington is making a little bit of noise. But that's going to be their most competitive football game. I feel like all the rest of these are winnable. The rest of these football games are winnable for sure. Minnesota does tend to play tough from time to time, so don't necessarily sleep on Minnesota. But I gotta admit here, he's overrated. First off, those 2 interceptions, they were just terrible reads. They really was, and it was just unnecessary. I feel like that. You're going to be facing. We'll see how they go because they're number 8 right now, so they have an opportunity to be able to turn things around. And due to the expansion of the CFP, which is this 1 loss, they're 5-1. They have a chance to make it, but you're going to be facing tougher rosters than Indiana, right? If you can't even make good decisions with the football. And again, I understand I use front 7 is for real. I get it. Their pass rush is deadly. I understand that. But again, roster wise in totality, you're not this football team is going to be the least of your problems moving forward. You're going to be facing much more competitive rosters down the road, especially with USC and potentially Washington, right? And I think Minnesota can really compete with anybody on like Minnesota is not really a threat to do anything this year. But what I will say is be careful sleeping on Minnesota because they do play tough from time to time. This road for Oregon, it doesn't necessarily. I mean, for the majority of it, it's easy, and I would even throw in Iowa as a team that could also play them tough. But I would feel like Iowa, I put them in the same boat as Indiana. They're again roster wise, they're not competing with Oregon, but Iowa plays tough. So does Minnesota. So just moving forward, if you're really serious about trying to make it to the next level. And trying to, have a chance at the CFP and really come away with a national title, you can't make bonehead mistakes like that. Not in the clutch. You gotta have much more poise than that. So I'm just a lot of people say, oh, Dante Moore is really good and don't sleep on Oregon. It's like how you lost matters to me. And it's not just about losing. Losing is a part of it. It's a part of the game. It happens. But how you lose is the most important thing because it's like the way I look at quarterback play, right? Mistakes are bound to happen. But it's like you look at certain stuff and you got to sit and ask yourself, some of these mistakes are avoidable. These interceptions were avoidable. It wasn't like, oh man, he had to just throw it up there. No, these were terrible reads. And again, down the line, he's going to face some more competitive teams, some potentially more, especially USC. And these things can't happen like that. So honestly, there's still hype for Dante Moore, but I'm just, to throw two egregiously bad interceptions in the clutch when your team needs you the most, and it was just really just unforced. It was just really just off of just making bad reads. That's just, as somebody that's watched Oregon for the first time, that's just a real eye-opener. Michigan, USC, we will move forward. Okay, we'll talk about Michigan, USC right now. So Michigan, USC, very, very, very competitive, very fun football game to watch. This was very, so two things that I have to mention. Okay, so Lincoln Riley, I don't know when the hell, and again, it could be just my ignorance because, at the end of the day, I'm just not hip to, I haven't been hip to college football in 2 full seasons. I haven't been watching it. So you have to excuse me for a little bit of my ignorance from time to time, but I had no idea Oklahoma let Lincoln Riley go, and then Lincoln Riley decided to go to USC. So that was crazy. Another thing that was crazy was Wink Martindale is the defensive coordinator for the Michigan Wolverines, and I think he has been so for the last couple years. So that's kind of crazy, but it's cool at the same time. Also, here's another thing as well. Just kind of getting into this game. One thing I noticed, and this is something that Brady has had a conversation about, when he's on these podcasts and things of that nature, and they're calling him in and asking about his opinion about college and, the development of these NFL players. One thing that he said that stood out to me, this is something that I noticed. I don't know if I haven't mentioned it on the channel, but this is something that I know. I noticed that the vast majority of the play calling for college is not good. It's really not, especially when it comes to the route tree with these wide receivers. And I feel like that low key, when you guys are some really bad coordinators who don't know how to go about operating an offense, going about get guys open properly. And so, long story short, Brady said something about, the offensive play call is not really good in college football in general. A lot of it is who really has the best wide receivers, and can your wide receiver beat the corner or beat the DB or whoever's guarding them? That's basically how college offenses are for the most part. And I agree with him. I've seen one too many times where, the route tree was very primitive, and a lot of guys are just simply relying on, their wide receiver being better than their DB in order to get open. So one thing I really, really loved and appreciate about a guy like Lincoln Riley, and it was put on full display on Saturday night, was how well his play calling was. And another thing that I looked at the offense, I'm like, this offense is very like Shane Steichen-esque, very similar to how he run it over in Philadelphia. And this is one thing that I completely forgot about because, again, I've been out the loop for 2 years. I thought Lincoln Riley was low-key retired. He wasn't. He's the coach for USC. We talk about, because here's the thing, Kevin Patullo's not going to be here after this year. And I'm hoping as the Eagles fan, we turn this thing around. But the likelihood of that actually happening is slim to none. Because I think when we got lucky in the beginning, teams are starting to figure us out. You can't undo that. You can't install a completely different playbook to kind of make things different. Yeah, you can add some plays from time to time, but a majority of what we're seeing this year from the Philadelphia Eagles from an offensive play calling standpoint, this is obviously they're going to throw in some wrinkles. Like, they've been trying to, been very Andy Reid Chiefs-esque with these little shovel passes and these, the shovel passes to Goddard under center. Trying to steal a little bit of the Andy Reid sauce. But the offense is going to be the offense. And obviously, this is Nick Sirianni's offense. We talk about how terrible Patullo is, this, that, and the third. And also, I want y'all to, before everybody says, oh, Kellen Moore, listen, Kellen Moore is a hell of a play caller. As an offensive play caller, he's one of the best in the business. I'm not taking it away from him. I also think that there were certain factors as far as just looking at the offense. This offense wasn't completely his. The Eagles last year did not run a 100% Kellen Moore offense. They didn't even run an 89. I would say the around 60 to and I'm doing it on the light end, 7, in between 60 to 70%. Maybe I say even 65 tops, 65 to 67% of the offense for the Philadelphia Eagles it was Kellen Moore. And I would say really 40%, I would say maybe 45% was still Sirianni's scheme. And this could be a variety of factors, right? I think part of it is Jalen is you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So here's the thing. There's been some reports saying that, certain coordinators and, wanted to implement certain things in the offense but couldn't do it because either Jalen didn't want to do it or Jalen has the inability. I think there might be some truth somewhere in the middle. It's very hard to determine what it is because we're in the business now, and this is the problem with mainstream media. There used to be a time where, and again, I'm all for a hot take, but there has to be some logical reasoning behind that hot take. You can't just say when those guys went on that podcast and talked about Deion Sanders and Michael Irvin, there's no logical explanation for that take, right? I'm all for a hot take. I'm all for something controversial. But in the same breath, it doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense. Because it's number one, there were plenty of fast guys back then, right? Darryl Green's one of the fastest players ever. Deion Sanders, one of the fastest players ever. Bo Jackson, the list goes on. There's a lot of fast players. And you also have to understand this, right? And this was an argument that I presented beforehand. You guys can go watch that. That's on my YouTube. It's with when I recapped the Giants and Eagles game last week. I put it out. So it's on YouTube and I think it's still on Twitch for the time being. But what you got to understand is just because we got to establish the difference between an inability to do something and whether or not it's presented in front of us. And I'll give you an example, right? So when Kenny Smith was talking about Kyrie Irving, and again, I've made the same very argument on that YouTube video that you guys can go watch for yourselves, right? And obviously it's on Twitch under a 7-day window. So I believe after Friday, you no longer see it on Twitch, but it's available for everybody on my YouTube page at I Am Bruce Leroy. But Kenny Smith had a conversation about Kyrie Irving, right? Whether or not he has the greatest handles of all time. And he said no, because there was guys back then that could do that. We just weren't allowed to do that, right? So a lot of us confuse the inability to do something with it not being presented to us, right? For instance, Michael Jordan could be saucy. We saw it in the goddamn, what was it, the 86 playoffs or something like that? We saw it in the playoffs going up against Larry Bird when he was doing the little fancy dribbling and shit. That very iconic play where he's just kind of crossing it, he's crossing it in between his legs, right? Pause. But you understand what I'm saying? So Jordan could do all the saucy, crazy shit, but is it efficient? Does it get to the goal of actually putting the ball in the basket? No, it doesn't. But does he have it in his toolbox? Yeah. We're just going to say he doesn't have it in his toolbox because it's not presented in front of us. But when you're that great, you understand what the objective is. The objective is, I'm trying to figure out why I made this point, but I'm going to just continue on. The objective is to get the ball in the basket. It's to win the game, right? The objective is to put more points on the board than the other team. If I'm doing all this saucy shit, it looks nice for the fans. It looks nice to go on my highlight reel, but oh snap, he really was that guy. But does it what does it do for the team? And does it elevate us to get wins? Right? So I say that to say this. Just kind of going back to my point because I'm all over the place. Mind you, I ain't got a script. Everything's off the dome. The reality of the situation is this. I feel like that Lincoln Riley would be perfect. Oh, yeah. I say that to say this. So, a lot of us say, we miss Kellen Moore, kiss Kellen Moore. I want you guys to keep in mind this, right? We did turn the game. We did turn things around the second half of the year. But also, y'all keep this in mind. Every Eagles fan and a mama was bitching about, oh, yeah, how come every time in the first quarter we can't put no points on the board? You remember that? That was our complaint the whole goddamn year. That was our complaint the whole year. Damn, why every first quarter we don't put no points on the board? That was our complaint every year. So I want you guys to just keep that in mind, that, you know, and also with Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen, I think to this day, was our best coordinator, specifically for Jalen Hurts. But in the same breath, we was all complaining about, damn, why you keep running quarterback draws to get Jalen Hurts killed? Damn, why ain't you running the ball enough? These were the complaints we had about Shane Steichen. So I want you to understand that whether or not a coordinator is good or bad, we will always have some. There's even people saying stuff about Vic Fangio right now. Even though he's proven himself, there's people talk about Vic Fangio right now. So I want everybody to understand that no matter what the situation is, no matter who's our coordinator, nigga, we can have goddamn Bill Walsh. You know what I'm saying? We can have all. And here's the thing too. I know it's a lot of you guys say, oh, Mike McDaniel should be a consultant, this, that, and third, right? So here's the thing. One, you got to be careful with how many voices you put in. Two, the way his offense is structured all the way up until recently, the tight end is not involved in this offense. That's obviously not going to help because we have Dallas Goedert, who is a top 2-3 tight end in the league, right? I don't give a fuck what the numbers say. I watch the football games, and what the stats don't tell you is context, right? You can only do what you can do when the opportunities are given to you. But when opportunities are given to Dallas Goedert, he makes plays. And he so far outside of, maybe a game or two where he hasn't played, he's actually having a low-key, a very good football year. So I feel like that Lincoln Riley will be a perfect coordinator for Jalen Hurts. You got to remember this. Number one, the way the USC's offense is designed is very similar to Philly. Lincoln Riley has worked with Jalen Hurts in Oklahoma, if y'all don't remember. And I think Jalen Hurts was a Heisman candidate that year. Also, one thing I really liked about Lincoln Riley is an offensive guru. Everybody knows his work in Oklahoma. If you're a football fan, you already know. You watch college football and you keep up with it. Lincoln Riley is one of the greatest offensive minds in football history, especially when it comes to college football. If you paid attention to this USC game, and if you pay attention to just Lincoln Riley in general, he knows how to get guys open. And that was something different that it was a breath of fresh air to see that, hey, there's a coach, a coordinator that's going out of his way to put the guys in the best position possible. And that was a breath of fresh air because so many times I'm watching these college football games, and yes, I'm of the same opinion of Brady. I see this a lot, and it actually irritates the fuck out of me because there are so many missed opportunities for the offense. But if you're not scheming guys open and your defense is just 10 off of your quarterback, and there's a lot of coverage sacks and things of that nature, you're not scheming guys to get open. You're just basically under the assumption that, my wide receivers are better than the DBs that's guarding them. So I'm just going to hope and pray that they end up getting open and catching the ball. You can't operate any offense like that. You got to understand that the defense, as much as you're going to try as hard to try to get your offense rolling, the defense is going to try just as hard, if not harder, to make sure that whatever your plans are offensively is not going to happen. So I just really appreciated just watching Lincoln Riley operate this US. I appreciate it as a football fan in general. I've always appreciated Lincoln Riley, what he's done for these offenses for Oklahoma, but definitely what he put on display for this USC football team. You know, guys were getting open. And another thing that I really appreciate about Lincoln Riley is that, you know, and even the analysts were having a conversation about it. He likes to run the football and he likes to do it a lot. And I'm telling you right now, what pissed me off so much was that I'm looking at USC do counter pulls. And I'm looking at this fucking Philadelphia football team whose offenses look very, very similar, by the way. I'm watching this Philadelphia football team do inside zone, halfback draw, the same bullshit, run up the fucking middle, just a different version of whether it be a fucking draw play, an inside zone, however you want to call it. Damn near the same, almost fucking identical offense. But I see Lincoln Riley trying to find different ways to get to provide opportunities for his running back to get good running plays. And I see this bullshit I've been seeing every Sunday. Outside of the first half of the Cowboys game where we were the most versatile in our offensive play calling with the run game. The most versatile. By the way, I want to throw in a little bit of tidbit before I get fully into the USC and Michigan game. I don't like the way you guys are talking about Tyler Steen at all. You know, there's nothing. It's pretty fucking obvious. Listen, we look at Matt Pryor. We looked at Brett Toff at center. It's pretty motherfucking obvious when the offensive line isn't playing good. And sometimes it's not as obvious when they are playing good. And typically, if you don't hear offensive lineman's name, that means they ain't giving up shit. So that's a good day for. If you don't hear offensive lineman's name, that means that they're having a great. If you keep hearing the offensive lineman's name, it's either a penalty of some sort, holding an eligible man down the field, or they getting their asses whooped. And now the analysts go out of their way to try to put the scope on them to highlight their bad play. But typically, if you don't see an offensive lineman, you don't hear about it. I don't hear about much Steen. I mean, Steen has had some penalties here and there, but Steen is number one. And I see you guys are like, well, Steen, like, you know, it's kind of crazy to me because I feel like you guys are not watching the same game that I'm watching. And I'm assuming that I'm going to assume that we're all watching football, right? Apparently not. I think some of you guys are just super simming Madden, right? Which I don't even know how the hell you could even find out an offensive lineman's performance based on super sim on Madden or some shit. That's just weird. But anyway, going back to my point. I don't like the way you guys are talking about Tyler Steen, you know, when he's actually holding up his own. And then what kills me is that you guys are saying that he's a better pass blocker than a run blocker. Even before Tyler Steen got an opportunity to start, it was very fucking obvious from the get-go that run blocking is Tyler Steen's stilo. That's his MO. Like, every offensive lineman got a particular thing. Some offensive linemen really thrive in pass blocking. Some offensive linemen thrive in run blocking. Tyler Steen, by nature, is a run blocking tackle. He's a guard now, but you get my point. He's a run blocking specialist. That is his bread and butter. Mekhi is a guy who could do a little bit of both. Obviously, with him, he's definitely more. He says he specializes more in the run blocking. But Mekhi Becton, I feel like, is a better balance between the two. And I'm a little bit disappointed that Howie didn't go bring the guy back. I'm disappointed because, you know, he's not going to be that expensive. And he really wanted to stay here. And I feel like that we could have made it happen. I don't think the price would have been that steep. I understand, like, it was Tyler Steen, I get the opportunity, but, and I'm not even mad at Tyler Steen. I think Tyler Steen is having a low-key solid year. And I don't actually like how you Eagles fans are dogging on him. And then you guys say dumb shit like, "Oh yeah, he's not a pass block." That's not his that's not his MO. It never has been. That's not to say that he's bad at it, but his stilo is run blocking. Matter of fact, let's go over to the tail of this tape. Let's go look up Tyler Steen real quick. because I'm about to bring this point all the way home. And then we're going to go back to the Michigan USC game. Let's go to PFF. PFF is not always reliable. Sometimes, PFF is not always reliable, okay? Wow. God damn. Boy, do I feel fucking stupid. His pass blocking grade is a 73.1. His run blocking grade is a 60.9. I know I'm not fucking crazy. I know this guy was a run blocking specialist. You know what? Y'all might have a point. Aha. Oh, no. That's the snaps he played. Shit. Ooh, wait a minute. This is an interesting stats. Hits allowed, he's number 1. He's 89 for total pressure allowed, but hits allowed, he's number 1. It's pretty damn good. Oh, you sorry sons of bitches. So, you remember how I was getting on Trayvon Diggs last year? And you can see all the grades and shit? What kind of lame ass shit is that? That's like Wikipedia putting their shit behind a paywall. What the fuck are you doing? Nigga, like, nobody gives a fuck about PFF like that. So you telling me I gotta fucking pay a membership to see grade? What the fuck am I gonna do with that? Motherfucker, like you're not hosting a goddamn assigned fucking jerseys and shit. This is literally public information. What the fuck? You're withholding public information. What the fuck is the public going to do with that? Is the public going to get rich off of knowing this fucking PFF grades? What the fuck are we talking about? This shit is so fucking stupid, dog. This shit is so fucking stupid. Let's see if I can cheat it. God damn, fuck. Ain't nobody posted? God damn. Week 4, we're past week 4. They ain't got seen up here? Wow. Either way, I'm not entirely concerned about Tyler Steen the way you guys think that he is. I'm not concerned about Tyler Steen the way y'all are. October 1st. Oh, his grade was solid. It was 72.2. Either way, I'm not worried about Tyler Steen. I'm really not. Do I think he's better than Mekhi Becton? No. Hey, these niggas go, oh yeah, I don't give a shit about what you're doing, but guess what? Let me give you a bullshit ass website so that you can get kicked off of Twitch. Get the fuck out of here. I should block your dumb ass for that. Anyway, moving the hell on. Let's talk about this. So I stand by what I said. I feel like that, the familiarity with Jalen. And here's the thing, and this is another thing I kind of don't like before we get to the USC game, because I know we kind of been talking in circles a little bit. One thing that I really, really strongly dislike is that you guys are acting like that you guys weren't okay with the Kevin Patullo hire. Like, some of us, like, if you were to say, okay, I was apprehensive about, wanting him to be there, but a lot of y'all were actually okay. Like, you know what? Let's give him a chance. But listen, if you want to say, okay, I'm apprehensive because you know what happened the last time with Brian Johnson when we hired within, that's a fair statement. But to sit up here and be like, oh yeah, yeah, I knew the whole time Kevin Petula was gonna be a disaster. No, the fuck you didn't. Now, granted, when he came out, I was like, So here's the thing, right? Kevin Petula being hired actually makes all the sense in the world, and I'm gonna tell you why that it did at the time. Clearly, the shit's not working out. We're all in agreement on that. But one thing that I was actually, why I actually understood it, because you got to be careful, because Jalen Hurts has had what 4 or 5 different coordinators in the NFL since he first arrived here. So you got to be careful or overloading his brain with so much information, because it could turn out disastrous. So I didn't necessarily like the hire at first. I was like, yeah, let's give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Let's see what this guy has to offer. But I really wasn't a proponent of this hire at first. But then as time went along, I was like, you know what? I think it makes all the sense in the world, because you want to give him somebody that actually is already familiar with the system, that's seen the Kellen Moore and been around this ball club. So you're not introducing an entirely different concept that's just going to confuse Jalen Hurts. You understand what I'm saying? And so I was like, I kind of gave in. I was like, you know what, man, let's just, I don't necessarily like the hire, but let's just give it an opportunity. But act like you guys are like, hell no, man. For the very get-go, man, I damn sure didn't want goddamn Kevin Petula. Y'all niggas is fucking lying. Y'all are lying. Y'all lying through y'all teeth. That's not what y'all was saying. I wasn't up in arms about saying, oh hell no, officer is going. No, you were not. Some of you guys were apprehensive, and rightfully so, because of the Brian Johnson situation in 2023. But to sit up here and say that you guys were like totally against the shit from the get-go, no, the fuck y'all was not. Stop lying. Stop it. Quit the lying. But yeah, moving forward with that, yeah, I just think that, Lincoln Riley will be the best guy for Jalen Hurts. I truly think that, from a standpoint of him understanding how to run an offense, him being more than willing to run a football, him understanding how to scheme and get guys open, as was presented in Oklahoma during his Oklahoma tenure, as was presented during his, so far from what I've seen in this USC thing. Okay, so let's talk about this football game, man. USC's offense is very, very fun to watch, and that's not obviously a secret, because when you got a guy like Lincoln Riley who knows how to conduct an offense, and one thing I like, and this is something that I heard throughout the game, that he's tough on his players, so that's a good thing, and that's another reason why that I would love to have this guy as our OC, because the same way Fangio is going to be tough on our defense and hold the guys accountable, those are the things that I actually want to see with this football team, especially on the offense. Like we need guys to be held accountable. We need guys like, why not? Why not give Lincoln Riley a call? You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, like I would love him to be our next offensive coordinator. I think Howie should definitely, out of everybody, Howie should definitely give Lincoln Riley a call for sure, and just get that nigga the fucking head coaching bag so he can go leave USC and go lead us to victory, bro, and go reunite him and Hurts together. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, very fun offense to watch. I really, really like the balance. And it's kind of crazy because I'm looking at these running backs. Number one, King Miller. I don't know if it's just a one-off game, because I saw the third guy get in and he was running all over Michigan. I don't know if it's just a matchup, but that freshman King Miller, talk about the smoothest cuts I've ever seen in a long ass time. The nigga was looking like fucking Reggie Bush out there. If I'm Lincoln Riley moving forward, we're going to see as time goes along. I don't know how long Wayman Jordan is going to get injured, because he got injured, and it's this guy named, what's his name? Haynes? Justice Haynes. Justice Haynes is one of the best running backs in the country for Michigan. Okay? So between the Jordan injury, how long he's going to be out for, or whenever he comes back, I feel that Lincoln Riley should have a strong consideration for having what they had with Lindale White and you remember how they had Lindale White and Jordan Reggie Bush kind of like going back and forth? They had like a little two running back. The same thing was going on in Detroit with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, right? I would have King Miller play more of a Reggie Bush, Jahmyr Gibbs type of role, and I would have Wayman Jordan, who's just a much more physical runner, have him play the more David Montgomery, Lindale White type of role. I would run a 2 running back system to really give the defenses something to think about. So that probably would be something, if I was Lincoln Riley, I'd consider moving forward, because when I tell you King Miller had a hell of a game, I mean, he was hoping. They kind of slowed him down a little bit in the fourth quarter, and I felt like that them finally kind of putting the lid on Miller allowed Michigan to come back in it to get close to come back in this game. To be honest with you, the final score is going to say 13-31. There was about 14 points left off the board. So I'm going to tell you 2 things. One, the tight end number 87, he ended up fumbling the football in the first quarter. And USC was moving the ball very easily against this Michigan. Like, Michigan's pass rush got there from time to time, but USC was moving the football against this Michigan defense with ease, like really picking their ass apart. Just the drive killers were just the number 87 fumbling the football in the first half, and I don't know if it was the second or third quarter, Maava throwing an interception, right? Which when I looked at interception, it just was a bad decision. Honestly, Jaden Maava, my overall now, I think he's a very, very talented quarterback. His numbers suggest so, and he has a ton of talent. Like the talent is there. He's definitely one of them ones for sure. Jaden Maava got the it factor when it comes to like having a good balance between knowing how to manage a football game. And again, his weapons aid him a lot in doing so, and having Lincoln Riley as the play caller. But his ability to run this offense, I'm very impressed overall. Obviously, I feel like that one glaring mistake was a bad decision on his part with the interception. But other than that, I feel like Jordan Maava had a really, really, really fantastic football game. And unfortunately, in one of the drives where USC's momentum was picking up, you had that fumble by number 87, which is obviously a no-go. Mekhi Lemon is an NFL prospect, and he played. And he has 9 receptions for 93 yards. Lions had a good game. Jacoby Lane, actually, the numbers don't look gaudy, but Jacoby Lane, he is a problem. You know, the USC wide receivers got a lot of depth, but my 2 biggest takeaways, Mekhi Lemon and Jacoby Lane, those guys played a really, really fantastic football game. Again, Jacoby Lane's numbers are not necessarily gaudy, but he had a fantastic football game for sure. He made some critical catches, some really nice plays down the field. Mekhi Lemon, nothing about him is that not only is he a superstar when it comes to his ability to make plays down the field, he also is a willing blocker, you know, and that's very important. You know, it's nice to be able to make the highlight plays and have the quickness and do all these sorts of nice things. What comes with being in a skilled position like a wide receiver, but to be able to play team football and block, that was very impressive. I was very impressed with Mekhi Lemon on Saturday for sure. I'm not going to lie to you. This defense is scary. Devon Tompkins, number 8, with his long-ass arms and stuff. And, like, their front seven is really good. But particularly what really impressed me about USC is their linebacker play. Devin Tompkins reminds me a lot of Ryan Shazier. If you don't remember what Ryan Shazier was, he came from Ohio State, went to Pittsburgh. Probably would have been on his way to a Hall of Fame career. I mean, the dude was a freakishly athletic. Like the dude, there was nothing that Ryan Shazier couldn't do. He was faster than a motherfucker. He could catch interceptions. He can cover. He can tackle. There was nothing about Ryan Shazier. Ryan Shazier damn near had no weaknesses to his game. That's what Devon Tompkins reminds me a lot of. He's very freakishly long ass wingspan, fast. Literally USC's, especially with their linebacker core, is damn near freaking unfair. I'm not even gonna lie to you. But yeah, USC, they're gonna be a very, very good football team, man. If Jaden Maava plays within the system, manages the game extremely well, USC has a legitimate opportunity to be national champions. I really believe in this team, especially with Lincoln Riley being the running this offense, them having the playmakers, them having more than adequate amount of running backs. Like I feel like you run a 2-man game with Miller and Jordan, and you should pretty much fucking coast. And then I feel like that their defense, especially with the linebacker play, USC is going to be a very, very scary football team moving forward. 100%. Michigan. A lot of you guys commented, oh, Bryce Underwood has talent, this at the third. I'm going to be honest. Bryce Underwood is ass. One more time. Can't fucking spell. Bryce Underwood is ass. Okay, that's not what I wanted. One more time. Bryce Underwood is ass. Listen, I'm sorry. I don't know if people didn't want to be the quarterback of Michigan this year and decided, I don't know what's going on with that Michigan. I don't know if maybe people just didn't want to play quarterback for this team. They saw the receivers, it's like, nah, I'll pass. By the way, number 4 made some great plays too. I forgot his name. Let me see right here. Yeah, Marsh made some really, really good plays. Yeah, damn, he had a big game. 8 receptions, 138 yards on a touchdown. Yeah, really big game. But yeah. So Bryce Underwood, he has potential to work on some things. Let me tell you something right now. How the fuck can you work on being able to properly throw a screen? So on the first drive, he botches a screen pass. I'm talking about, goddamn it, the running back was right here. The quarterback was like right here. How the fuck do you botch a screen pass? And another thing too. How in the hell do you not know how to throw a back shoulder throw? Like, to me, it's like there's certain things I would expect a quarterback to know how to work on, right? A quarterback should be like, okay, I'm having a tough time grasping the system, right? That's something that, as time goes along, you can improve on that. You can improve on decision making. You can improve on like, okay, let's not force as many throws so we don't get turnovers, right? You can improve on these things. You can't really improve on a quarterback that can't fucking throw a screen pass and doesn't know how to throw a back shoulder throw. It was a 2-point conversion, I think. He had an opportunity for a back shoulder throw. I think it was like sometime in the second half. And he completely fucks this shit up. He'll say, oh, yes, that was so much talent. Where? Where's the talent? Where? I don't see it. A quarterback throwing dirt balls can't throw a screen pass, can't throw a back shoulder pass. And here's the thing, right? I'll give you the benefit of the doubt to say this. Okay, maybe throwing is not necessarily your strong suit. But guess what? Tim Tebow couldn't fucking throw a tight spiral 20 yards down the field, 15 yards down the field consistently. But you know what he could do to compensate for that? He could scramble. The guy scrambling is, So you're not a threat to scramble the football. Your throws are super inconsistent, and you act like you can't even do basic shit. Mind you, okay, if this is high school, fine. But you're the starting quarterback for a Power 5 for the Michigan Wolverines. And I'm not to say that their quarterback history was stellar, right? Brady ends up being the greatest quarterback of all time. Their quarterback history is, and then we have to see what's going on with J.J. McCarthy when he comes back. And I don't know if he's going to come back this time around. We have to face Carson. I hope Carson wins playing so we can beat the shit out of his ass. And at the end of the day, they're going to start crying. They don't want to say, I hope we beat this shit. Minnesota with Carson Wentz would be the perfect way to get our get back. Have a 4-player here who didn't work out. Didn't want to say Jalen Hurts had that Jalen Hurts be the one to whoop his ass. Now, granted, it ain't gonna be easy because you got Jordan Addison and Jetta, and from what I've heard, Quinyon Mitchell might not be playing with that hamstring, which is kind of like, that's a huge loss, huge. But yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like, I don't know what the hell y'all see at Bryce Underwood. The least you could do if the throws ain't crispy, the least you can do at the bare minimum is be able to scramble. And you could barely do that. What are we doing here? So Justice Haynes ended up getting injured. So pretty much the guy from USC, Wayman Jordan, and Justice Haynes damn near got hurt around the same time. So Justice Haynes is one of the best running backs in NCAA. Actually he did fairly well, but I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know if it maybe was a game of like the second stringers with the fresh legs, but Jordan Marshall had quite a run where especially that second half, he broke up some really, like again, they slowed him down a little bit in the fourth quarter, but Marshall actually played really, really good for Michigan. Like he definitely got some solid runs in for sure. Marsh made some mistakes, but when he definitely made up for it with some huge plays for sure. I just think overall, just USC, like if it wasn't for the fumble and the interception, this game would have been really ugly. It looks like it was like, okay, USC just got a good win, but like honestly, this game should have been. There was definitely 14 points left off the board, 100%. Okay, that's all I want to talk about. USC is pretty much the more superior football team. There's no reason to like kind of harp on that too much. Sunday Night Football, Lions and the Chiefs. Let me tell you some funny ass shit real quick. Explain to me, out of all the Chiefs legends you got, you could have had Priest Holmes. You could have had Jamal Charles. You could have had Dwayne Bowe. You could have had Larry Johnson. You could have had Sammy really? You could have had Matt Castle. You could have had Tyler Thigpen. You could have had goddamn Eric Berry. Marcus Peters, I don't know if he's still playing or not. Probably not him. Eric Berry. Hell, even Alex Smith. You could have had anybody begging a goal. Nobody remembers Jared Allen. That's like me. Like, okay. That's like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers having goddamn Bo Jackson begging the goal. Like, no disrespect. It's kind of like, I'll put it to you like this, right? The baby is from Cleveland. But where do we mostly associate the baby from? North Carolina. So it's like Corrupt. Corrupt, I think it's from Philadelphia. What do we mostly associate Corrupt from? California. It's kind of like a Jared Allen situation. Nobody named Mama remembers Jared Allen being on the Chiefs. Now, granted, if you were a football fan, I was happy to be alive, and I think I was alive. I just, I was too goddamn young. But nobody named Mama remembers Jared Allen as a Kansas City Chief. Yes, he got drafted, but everybody named Mama knows Jared Allen from Minnesota as a Minnesota Viking. That is the exact equivalent of having Bo Jackson do the pregame festivities for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Bo Jackson is a goddamn Oakland Raider. Jared Allen is a goddamn Minnesota Viking. Now, yes, he got drafted there, but you tell me out of all the people that you could have had do it, hell, you would have had Joe Montana up in that motherfucker. And even though I associate him being more as a 49er, that would have made a hell of a lot more sense than have a goddamn Jared Allen up there. You tell me everybody's line was busy. You could get Eric Berry to do it. Come on now. Tony Gonzalez. Come on. What are we doing here? Out of everybody that was on the Chiefs, you couldn't get one of Larry Johnson. You couldn't get none of them to answer the goddamn phone? None of them? Not one? Come on, man. Justin Houston. Give him a call. Come on now. Give Justin Houston a call. Jared Allen, who's mostly known as a Viking? Come on. That shit was weird. So I don't know what it was this Sunday, but it all started off with George Pickens. Everybody named Mama All the star wide receivers was trying to hurdle motherfuckers. I think Jameson Williams, in the first drive was trying to do the same thing. So George Pickens tried to hurdle. So he had one really good hurdle that ended up being a highlight play. The second one, it didn't necessarily go in his favor. But everybody, their mama on the wide receiver end was I think even Amika Cooper tried to do that too. So real quick, let's talk about the 49ers and the Buccaneers. It was actually a competitive game. And I'm going to tell you something right now, bro. I'm so happy for Baker Mayfield. I really am. And I want everybody to keep this in mind. When I talk shit about the other quarterback, just know it ain't nothing personal. I got respect. I love Lamar. Mahomes is my favorite player of all time, past to present. Everybody knows that. My GOAT, bad. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of respect for Josh Allen, even though we're going to talk about him later on today. I got a lot of respect for all of these guys. So don't ever think that it's personal. It's never personal with these at all. It's never personal. Okay, I understand that, like, oh, you talk, but like, I have to defend my Eagles because like everybody gets on Hurts. Everybody's like, well, and then somebody had the nerve to talk about some goddamn, oh yeah, well every Super Bowl quarterback is being scrutinized. Welcome to the foot. Like, no, not to the degree that Jalen Hurts was. And here's the thing, let's rewrite history for 1 second. 2023 49ers with Brock Purdy have damn near the same identical football team as us. And you lost. And his performance wasn't even nowhere near as memorable as Jalen Hurts'. But how much you want to bet the narrative would be completely different if Brock Purdy would have got his Super Bowl win versus Jalen Hurts? Some of you would even go as far as to say you guys were ready to crown Brock Purdy over Jalen Hurts as far as being the best quarterback in the league. What are we talking about here? All right. Yeah, so let's go over to the lines. Let's have a conversation about that. Jameson Williams was playing outstanding football for sure. He played very good football. My goat, and here's what everybody got to stop doing, right? I know there's a lot of you guys talk about Patrick Mahomes. You guys are like, well, Mahomes didn't play very good in the beginning of the year. He don't have any goddamn receivers. He's not playing with any receivers. Okay, so when everybody say, oh, Pat Mahomes doing it, he's not playing with any receivers. The Chiefs definitely lean more towards the run a lot more. The productions you can see, 12 carries, 51 yards. Not a crazy amount of production, but I will say this to give the players the benefit of the doubt. When the Chiefs needed first downs and they needed to move the chains, Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco did their jobs in that regard. So the running game wasn't nothing crazy, but they did their best. Fuck, I can't talk. Patrick Mahomes, my GOAT. My GOAT, 22 for 30, 257, 3 touchdowns, right? Mahomes also had a touchdown script. Like, come on, man. Mind you, all it took was for him, he just get one wide receiver. Next week, he gets Rashee Rice back. So imagine Rashee Rice, we'll see, he might be a little bit rusty. Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy back? Come on now. Come on, man. Come on. Mahomes playing with one good receiver. Kelsey, elite. Kelsey's a Hall of Famer. No question about it. But I have seen a little bit of decline in his play where he makes some bad drops from time to time. He's still a viable option in this offense. Kelsey is still a threat, but not the same Kelsey as I would say maybe 2 years ago. Okay. But Xavier Worthy, I think, had a monster game. No. Hollywood Brown, and I owe Hollywood Brown an apology. Listen, I got to keep it all the way real. Hollywood Brown was making some catches on Sunday night. I'm not even going to lie to you. Hollywood Brown was balling. I said he was washed up, being retired. Nah, Hollywood Brown was on one for sure. Chris Jones actually got some pretty good pressure. They had, I think, a rookie guard in for Detroit, and Chris Jones was definitely having his way. And then I think the Lions did a really good job of adjusting with having more of a double team. And for Chris Jones, was kind of slowed him down a bit. Chamari Connor definitely had the best game out of everybody on that. What actually was Chanel. Chanel had the best game, in my opinion, from an optics perspective. Obviously, stats going to say Shamari Connor had more, but Chanel really made some key plays for that Chiefs defense for sure. Trying to see. And Harrison Butker, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Ever since they got mad at him about that gender role speech he did, bro, he's not been the same goddamn player. I ain't gonna hold you. Goff actually had a solid game. Gibbs did his thing. Amon-Ra got his receptions when he could. Anzalone was really good. Like I was looking at his tackling. He was all over the field. Anzalone had a really, really good game. Kirby Joseph, I think, had like a little injury thing. And then when he came back in, he was back to business for sure. Rocky Sin definitely made some plays. I'm surprised he's still. I feel like this man been playing forever. This man, I remember he was on the Patriots, and then he bounced around a team or two. But yeah, for sure. But yeah, so. The biggest situation that happened, right? And here's the thing. I want to preface by saying this. I never celebrate when players get into fights, altercations, and that, because I'm not that type of person. I'm not an evil person. I don't know why you guys would. Actually, I know why, because it's Super Bowl shit, but you got to remember this, bro. Winners can do what the fuck they want to do. So, Juju Smith was on the winning team, and he has a chance of talking shit because he won. If we wanted to do something different, if we don't like the trash talk, win a goddamn football game. That's all I gotta say. I hate when motherfuckers be sitting up there, be getting mad. And listen, I love AJ Brown, but when he was up there doing all the extra shit with Juju, I'm like, bro, he's not doing nothing. It's not a personal thing. Let the man talk his shit. Like, at the end of the day, if you think it's corny, so what? He won, right? And listen, people even got mad at Cam Newton. I was like, low key, like, it was weird because I'm like, yo, you mad at Cam Newton for dabbing and doing all the shit he's doing, but you can't stop him. And all these teams that were on the defense were upset, but like, there's nothing to be upset about. Win the fucking ball game. Stop the man from getting in the goddamn end zone. If you really have a problem celebrating like that, stop it. So one thing I cannot stand, this is such sore loser ass behavior. I hate when motherfuckers lose and try to tell the winners how to act. Now, granted, disrespect is a line. But if the person talking shit like, aha, you ain't shit, we won. Yeah, I'm also going to run high from time to time, but I feel like that you have to take that at the end of the day. You got to take with the good with the bad. Like, when you're winning, I bet. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to always act like a, what rule is there that said you have to be a gracious winner? There's no rule for that. If you want to stop anybody, all you got to do is literally make sure their ass is not in the end zone and they didn't win the football game, and you good. But all of this, the extra shit that comes with it, it's just like you're at that point you're doing too much. Like, bro, he won the fucking game. He was on the winning team. Whether he contributed, didn't contribute, however you feel. By the way, Laporta also made some pretty good catches. He was very active in the first half as well. And also, this is what I would like the Lions to do in the future. Okay, because I feel like this could really open things up. They got a rookie wide receiver, and I want to see if I can see his name. No, they got a rookie wide receiver. Who's the rookie wide receiver for the Lions? This before I get into the Juju Smith. Isaac Tesla. He made a crazy catch in the preseason, and I'm not going to lie to you. They need to try to figure out a way to involve him in the offense because Amon-Ra is going to get double. Jameson, I think, is very talented, but I don't think he's done enough just yet to command attention. He's very talented, makes the big plays, definitely a major part, a major contributor to this Lions offense. But I don't think he's proven to be a viable threat yet. But again, Jameson Williams is still a dangerous football player, but the league-wide, when you face Detroit, your focus is on Jameson Williams, but not really. Your focus is really on stopping the run game between Montgomery and Gibbs. And then right after that, your second priority is stopping Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's not necessarily and let's think about it like this. Is there really a separator in the percentage of contribution between Sam Laporta and Jameson Williams? Not necessarily, right? But I feel like this Isaac Tesla guy, they did try to get him more involved because I feel like if they, number one, you're preparing him for next year if he gets a bigger role. Number two, he's made some big plays that shows you, oh snap, we might have hit the lottery with this guy. So I would like to try to involve him in this offense to try to give the defense more things to figure out. And I think when you give a guy like this who's capable of making those huge plays, the football, and I think he even made a big catch earlier this year as well. I don't know if it was week 1 or week 2, but when you allow him to get going in this offense, that's going to open up the guy. It's going to open things up for the guy you really want to have the football. And that's Amon-Ra St. Brown. So I feel like that's something for Detroit to consider in the future. Now, we're going to talk about the post-game fight. Somebody's fighting. Let's get ready to rumble. On the left corner, playing for the Kansas City Chiefs, tried to troll the Philadelphia Eagles as if he was really that guy. Has the drip of a 35-year-old wide receiver. Reminds me of Jerry Rice when he was on the Seattle Seahawks. Give it up for the overrated Antonio Brown merchant, Juju Smith-Schuster. And on the left corner, the hard-hitting safety out of Alabama. Weighing however the fuck he weighs and however tall he is. Ladies and gentlemen, Brian Branch. Ding, 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 ding. All right, all jokes aside. Here's the thing. So I'm going to tell you how all this shit started. End of the game, everybody doing the kneel downs, you know what I'm saying? So Patrick Mahomes goes over to Brian Branch, tries to shake his hand. Brian Branch walks past him. Ah, damn. Why you do that? But you let it go. Guess who did not think to let it go? Juju Smith-Schuster. Juju Smith-Schuster. Hey, man. Hey, this Phil. What's going on? Hostility, man. Give me a kiss, baby. So he tried to do all this shit. And then Brian Branch, highly emotional because you guys lost a tough game. It's fine. You know, these things are happening. When you're a competitive person, to say that, like, listen, I'm not going to lie to you. When I lose, over time, you learn how to be a gracious loser. That doesn't even sound right. But it's true. I think that, you know, it's always the best man win. Okay? That's the truth. And if you're in a position where, you know, you got beat, shake the person's hand, hey, GG's, and move on. Now, to say that I ain't got a couple of insults and some swear words to go along with that I have to internalize, because I don't want to say it's not that serious. What I will say is, you know, I think over time, people have to, and, you know, all of us, we got to do a better job of managing our emotions when we lose. Because nobody likes to lose. And some people take it worse than others. Now, Brian Branch, you know how he play on the field. He's strong, he's physical, like you know what I'm saying? He like that. So, what Juju Smith should have done, this is completely avoidable. He didn't want to shake Patrick Mahomes' hand. You let the shit go. Now, granted, is it sportsmanlike for Brian Branch to do that? No. And I also want to, for the record, say that Brian Branch should not have did what he did to Juju Smith-Schuster. And I'm not going to lie to you. That little picture that's going around, fuck! The little picture that's going around that they're going to have as a meme for Juju Smith-Schuster looks bad. But a lot of you Eagles fans like, yeah, that's what he give the Super Bowl. I'm like, bro, it's not that serious. To get a guy to get beat up and then he bleed, like, it's not that serious. Now, granted, when Juju Smith did that, I said Juju Smith. Juju Smith, when he did that, he egged the situation on. And you shouldn't have done that. Everybody want to say Brian Branch started. No, Brian Branch is like most of us when we lose. Bitch, don't talk to me. Fuck you. Fuck anybody that love you. And if I love you, fuck me too. You know what I'm saying? Pause. If I was a bad bitch, I want to fuck me too. But now, all jokes aside, we get hot when we lose. Some people are better at handling their emotions. And clearly, from that situation, Brian Branch did not do a good job of handling his emotions properly when he lost. But Brian Branch is all of us. Nobody likes to fucking lose. So, with that being said, when he made the decision to not shake Mahomes' hand, for whatever reason it may be, and, hey, tensions are high. Excuse me, emotions are high. That's fine. But when you go and egg somebody on, hey, Phil, what's happening, baby? Why you didn't give me a hug? Why you didn't wave to me? I was waving my arms. You know how tall I am? What you thought it was a ceiling fan? No, it was my arm, Phil. Phil, what's happening, Phil? Phil, come here. Don't act like you don't know me. Said, Craig, tell your fine ass daddy I said, Anyway, moving forward. Juju Smith should not have. Now, I don't condone Brian Branch's actions whatsoever. He was wrong for what he did. But when he moved away, that was probably his way of saying, bruh, I'm mad as fuck right now. I want to crash out. So I'm not going to crash out, but I'm not shaking your fucking hand either. So I'm just going to walk the fuck away. But when you go with somebody's at a 10 and they trying to not explode, it's like sitting up there, you put a Mentos and some sparkling water and you just try to hold up. That's what Juju Smith was what Juju Smith did with Brian Burns was the equivalent of you putting a goddamn Mentos in carbonated water and you try to hold on to the cap to keep the shit from bursting. Like, bruh, the dude is clearly mad. Emotions are high. Stay the fuck away from him because there clearly was a message sent. Understanding the social cues, right? Pick it up on the social cues. Clearly, him not shaking Mahomes' hand, he's hot right now. Leave him alone. Now, granted, I want to be firm on this. What's the name? Brian Branch is 100% in the wrong. Okay? But he doesn't have to shake his hand. He's a grown-ass man. He doesn't have to shake his hand. Now, granted, I understand it's customary and it's sportsmanlike to do so, but he doesn't actually have to shake his hand. Just want to put that out there. So, in that situation, it's like, yeah, bro, like, I don't want to say you get what's coming to you, but like you add, it's like you at a wasp nest. What a bitch ass niggas. Bitch, and all like a wasp like shit, and they bite your ass. What you expect to happen? Will not bite you, they sting you. But you understand my point. You poke out a wasp nest, bitch. You like it's like playing whack-a-mole here. Whack. Then that's your ass. And then I feel bad for you. Hopefully you don't die. But what you think was gonna happen when you kept messing with a wasp nest? And that's the same situation that happened with Brian Branch. It's like one of those things is just like, bro, you gotta read the room. Once upon a time, there was a Sunday night football game between the Detroit Lions and the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs ended up winning a big game in prime time. Brian Branch. Oh, man. Like, read the goddamn room, Juju. So the whole shit was just unnecessary. And for what I heard, Brian Branch is going to be suspended for a game. And rightfully so. You can't do that. By the way, Collinsworth, Dog. The cringy ass, random ass Kermit the Frog impressions. So all of a sudden you have what's the guy name? Mike Tirico, whatever. So Mike Tirico was doing his, is that his name? I can't fucking spell. Put an R instead of a T. Yeah, so Mike Tirico was doing his bit, and all of a sudden, hey, y'all remember the goddamn commercial? That the Allstate, what was it? I think it was Allstate, where the guy was like, "Yeah, I'm a barking my boss and shit," and then all of a sudden they're in the meeting, and it's like he like, "Go dogs," and then like the way he do it, it's like forceful and cringy. Niggas looking at this dude like, "Yo, what the fuck are you doing?" That was reminding me of when Chris Collinsworth was interrupting Mike Tirico to do this shitty ass impression of Kermit the Frog. Like, yeah, you know how it sounds like a Kermit the Frog. Yeah, I'm like, bro, nigga sound like a fucking drunk. Like, bro, let this nigga talk and finish up his bit, and that's it. But Chris Collinsworth is just, you know, sometimes he just be doing shit that just I don't understand, bro. Trying to figure out what else. Yeah, St. Brown did drop a pass. It happens. I'm trying to figure out what the hell else. Oh, and by the way, the Chiefs are playing without their I think it was their left tackle. So that made the win even more impressive. But y'all gonna learn how to put some respect on my boy name. All right, Bills and Falcons. Let's have a conversation about that. So, I feel like the Bills had a good game plan coming in. The Bills like, yo, we're going to run the ball with James Cook. The game got out of hand because defensively they suffered a lot of injuries. Benford was out for a minute, then he came back in. I'm trying to figure out if there was other injuries that I have written down. Benford had an injury. Connor McGovern had an injury on the offensive line. Then he quickly came back in. Where was the other joints? Let me just look up the Bills and the I probably could figure it out. If I look at the Bills and the Falcons, I look at the box score, I could probably tell you who got injured. Look at the Falcons. All right. Yeah, so Terrell Bernard ended up getting an injury, and they had Ed Oliver, because you remember, y'all fucking remember last week in the Patriots game, Ed Oliver was out. So they had Ed Oliver on a limited snap count. He actually was very productive. Rousseau had a great game. Got some sacks, got some pressures, made some plays, got the block field goal early. So Rousseau had a fantastic football game. The stat sheet doesn't tell you a lot, but he did. Bosa ended up having a sack that was called back in the second half due to, I believe, Ed Oliver being offsides. And I think there was another situation where Bijan fumbled the football. I believe it was the first drive of the football game. Don't quote me on that for the Atlanta Falcons. Bijan fumbled the football and had to get called back because a player was offside. So penalties were definitely an issue for Buffalo, especially on both sides, both the defensive line and the offensive line. Penalties were definitely a huge issue. Shaq Thompson played really well. Taylor Rapp made some plays as well. But they had a good game plan going forward. So it's like, give James Cook the ball. But the problem is the defense with the injuries, some of the non-disciplined things. I'm going to keep it real with you, bro. There needs to be an investigation into the Bills and the Lions for how they conduct themselves, because I don't know what it is, especially for the Bills. The Bills specifically need to be investigated by the motherfucking NFL, because for the life of me, why in the hell do all of their players get injured? We're talking about the key players. They get injuries that it's not like, see, everybody talk about Sirianni not playing his players in the preseason, but here's the thing. for the most part, guys don't get very bad debilitating injuries. Only like maybe once in a blue moon with a few players. But the guys that we need on our team don't get bad injuries. Like Detroit, they be like, yo, let's have a hard practice and this, that, and the third. But as you can see, Aiden Hudson was out for the year last year. And then like Detroit having their injuries stopped them from being able to compete at their fullest. So I don't know what it is about Buffalo, but Buffalo cannot keep guys healthy. So I don't know why McDermott is not, he's so goddamn worried about the motherfucking tush push. He need to worry about how to make sure his defense stay healthy, because his defense is never fucking healthy. And it's not even just like these little small injuries where our guys are out 3 to 4 games. These are like damn near season enders, goddamn extended periods of time where Bills players are actually getting injured. So to me, that's just crazy to me. Like, you dig what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't get what's the point here. Josh Palmer ended up having an injury, but he quickly came back in. Was it Shakir or Josh? I think it was Josh Palmer that was like injured previously. So they ended up. Did Josh Palmer fumble the football? Well, actually, I have it in my notes here. By the way, Bijan Robinson was a monster game. He really helped open up this offense. And we talking about passing the football, we talking about running the football, just dominant. Had an 81-yard run. Like, Bijan Robinson was just unstoppable. And let me tell you something right now. To knock Ed Oliver on his ass, hey, Bijan is him. Penix, has some plays where, he threw some not great balls. But here's the thing, and I'm going to keep it real. I understand their system is their system, but you can't. I'm starting to understand why Atlanta is having the problems that they're having. And I keep thinking to myself, every time I watch Penix, Penix doesn't strike me as a bad quarterback. Penix strikes me as a guy that can hold his own. Penix strikes me as a top 10 caliber quarterback to me. Penix is a very good football player. So why in the hell is Atlanta getting these losses and struggling early? They keep operating out the goddamn pistol. And I'm like, well, why are they doing that? Because, okay, they claim to say, okay, well, Bijan Robinson, it helps them see better, but you don't do that at the expense of your quarterback. And also, here's the thing. You got a guy like Bijan who could do a little bit of everything. You can line him up any way. And also, being able to play under center, because you have the O-line to do it, you have the personnel to be able to be able to pull it off. Being able to operate under center is very important in this league for long-term sustainable success. You cannot have your team. It's a lot of pressure on the offensive line. And speaking of offensive line, Jake Matthews ended up getting hurt as well. I think he was out for the game. I don't know how long the timetable is going to be for whatever. I'm not a Falcons fan. That's for y'all guys to worry about. Obviously, prayers for his recovery, but like other than that, I'm not going to fool him that way. I decided to go with a different bird team. Like, yo, that's for y'all. You know what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? So, but yeah, so he ended up being out off of injury. But for the life of me, I'm starting to understand why Penix is sometimes not successful, because this system long term is not sustainable as an offense. You cannot operate out the pistol every freaking play, because what'll tend to happen is that your offense, you're going to be eventually in the same position as Philadelphia. Your offense is going to be predictable, and Bijan can't save your ass. So what Atlanta needs to do, and I don't know if they're going to be able to make this adjustment right now. They won their game, so they're riding off a high. But sooner or later, Atlanta's going to have to seriously think about changing their offensive philosophy, or at least if they want to operate out the pistol, have a little bit more variation when it comes to play calling. Because what you're going to end up doing is Bijan is a generational talent, right? It's very important that he get his touches and feel a part of this offense, 100%. But in the same breath, you don't sacrifice him. You don't sacrifice your quarterback. You know, if you're making it hard for the quarterback who you drafted in the first round, you believed him to be your franchise quarterback, you cannot do things at the expense of your quarterback, of the leader of your football team. You just can't do it. So that ended up being the case. So I'm not gonna say Penix played a solid game. Wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but he played a solid game. Drake London, man, we talk about top 10 receivers in this league. We do not mention Drake London enough. I mean, this guy is phenomenal. You know, I think he's much more faster and explosive. Like he got that sneaky athleticism to him where he can, like, you know, he got a little bit more speed than what you realize. But I'm telling you this right now, Drake London is elite. And when it comes to, you know, we mentioned guys like AJ, we mentioned guys like Jamar Chase, we mentioned guys like Tyreek Hill at one point, Devontae Adams, CeeDee Lamb, JJ, Jamar Chase, AJ. Devontae is definitely a top 10 wide receiver, regardless if you believe it or not. Don't give a fuck. Puka Nacua is getting his respect, right? Mike Evans is going to get 1,000 yards every year, so you have to put him somewhere in the top 10. So many guys. Terry McLaurin, you know, those guys are in that conversation, right? However you decide you want to order them, hey, that's up to you. But the consistency I see year after year coming from Drake London, ever since day one on his football team, has been remarkable. I've yet to see Drake London have a bad game. Like, we really have to have a conversation about how good of a football player, and we have to show him just as much love as we show those guys that I just mentioned, and then probably some I didn't mention as well. But and also throw in Amon-Ra St. Brown in there as well. But we gotta do a better, like, and also DK is also into that conversation too. We talk about those guys, we praise those guys. We don't praise Drake London enough for how consistent of a football player and how, you know, dominant of a football player he can be. Because you also have to remember this: before Penix came in the building, and you know, Penix is still young. We're gonna see how this ends up turning out. Drake London carousel of quarterbacks has not been great by any stretch of the imagination. Like he's had to play with some quarterbacks. Like he got Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins started off the year strong, ended his year not so great. So the amount of quarterbacks that he's had to play with, he's in a situation where, like Terry McLaurin, where you're going to sleep on him because he's not playing with consistent, elevated quarterback play. Now, again, I think Penix is talented, but the time will tell if he fully reaches his potential. But I gotta say, Atlanta gotta change this offensive playbook, because if they do not change their offensive playbook, they're going to end up being what Philly is right now, and teams are going to be able to pick up on damn near every single play and tendency of this football team, because there's not too many plays you can run out of the pistol. So they're going to start picking up tendencies and picking up patterns, and then this performance, you're not going to see this in the future. You're going to see an entirely different offense where you're going to get more of Carolina. Only difference is just take that Carolina game and have it for the entire year. So Atlanta needs to add some more versatility to their playbook and make it easier in their quarterback to be able to make plays. D. Alford was outstanding. He caught an interception. Mike Hughes was really good. Xavier Watts made some plays. Rook Orahoro. Now, again, his stat line doesn't jump at you, but he probably was the best defensive player, or definitely was the best defensive player. I don't know why the Eagles should try to trade for Leonard Floyd. I would like them to have Leonard Floyd is a good veteran that will be added to this room, especially. By the way, so here's the thing, right? Josh Allen played probably his worst game I've seen in a long time. But again, and then let's go quickly over to the Commanders game before I start talking about reaction to Zadarius Smith retiring out of nowhere. So the Commanders and the Bears game, very interesting game. I gotta say this, okay? So Jaden Daniels threw an interception early. That guy Merritt had some fumbling issues. I think for the final play where Merritt ended up fumbling the football, I feel like that was more on Jaden Daniels making sure the ball placement is where it needs to be. So I was sort of blaming for that one. Jaden Daniels made plays. Like I don't think, like, listen, if we had to compare the sophomore slumps, Because now, based on what I'm seeing, I'm no longer going to be judging quarterbacks. Like so far, Jackson Dart looks pretty good. I obviously don't want to look that damn good because I need my Eagles to win the division. But I'm no longer going to be judging quarterbacks based off of their first year. I'm going to be judging quarterbacks based on the second year, year 2. The reason why I say that is because we're looking at what's going on with C.J. Stroud. And again, I don't think C.J. Stroud just lost his talent, but he's definitely not the same quarterback as what he once was as a rookie. Jaden Daniels, it's been really up and down. And again, it's too early to tell right now. Jaden Daniels is talented. I think right now, if we had to compare the sophomore slumps, I feel like that Jaden Daniels is somewhat on pace for what he was doing last year. Just he's not quite on that level yet, but I don't think the drop off is as significant as versus year 2 and year 3 CJ Stroud versus year 1. I don't think it's that much of a drop off as of right now. Again, the season is still young, and also Jaden Daniels was also injured out for like 2 or 3 games as well, so that makes a big deal. Like we're like 5-6 weeks in the NFL season. So yeah, Allen didn't play great. Definitely Jaden Daniels didn't play terrible, but he made some bad decisions. But it's just crazy how Hurts makes bad decisions. Even his own fucking fan base is turning on him. And listen, I'm going to keep it always stacked with you. I love Tanner McKee. I think Tanner McKee not only could start for about, maybe 60 to 70% of these NFL teams. Very talented dude. Every time he comes in, takes advantage of his opportunities. We really don't even know this guy's ceiling. Tanner McKee is a bad motherfucker. And when he gets his opportunity, maybe elsewhere next year, it's gonna be a problem. This dude is a baller, right? And also I was on record saying that there are some things that I would say, yo, Jalen Hurts, you need to go up to Tanner McKee and ask him for a few tips on how to be able to play with more anticipation. And I said there was things that Tanner McKee that he got. I feel like that the things that Tanner McKee got is what's missing in Jalen Hurts' game. I said that last year. You know, when I was doing my joints on the I Am Bruce Leroy YouTube channel, I said that last year, right after the Giants started. And some of y'all try to downplay his stuff. Like, yo, bro, the dude threw for 270, 290 yards in his first year, in his first game starting in full. And everybody was just like, and I love Joey Shits, but everyone's like, oh, he played all right. No, the fuck he didn't. Now, we can say that, okay, there may be some things he could have did better on, but to say that he played all right, no, he's amazing. 290 fucking yards. And then before that, when he popped in after Kenny Pickett got hurt, by the way, Kenny Pickett played really good. That's why I'm not going to disrespect him no more, because when he ended up playing really well for us on the next game out, I forgot who was it against, but it was the Commanders game, I think. Don't quote me on that. McKee came in and was just slinging that motherfucker. Like the chemistry was there. So I know how good Tanner McKee is. With that being said, though, 2 plays, maybe 3, 4 of them, does not determine. Like, a lot of you guys say that Jalen Hurts played bad on Thursday, when really I feel like the scrutiny should have came the week prior. I feel like that if you watch the Giants game, he did a pretty good job of moving the football. I think the throws were sharp. They were crispy. It's just that there were some bad moments that really just people were just blown out of proportion. Like, again, you hold them accountable for those bad moments or those bad decisions. The overthrow to Devontae, the missing A.J. Brown in the end zone and deciding to throw to a covered Jahan Dotson. And again, not entirely his fault because they were blitzing, but you got to be able to see the field a little bit better than that, especially if you know that they're coming, right? Being able to make those anticipatory decisions. I said Tanner McKee has that over Jalen Hurts. I've been said that last year. Of course, I'm not going to get the fuck credit for it because y'all niggas on glaze. Y'all going to glaze so y'all want to glaze. It is what it is. I'm not crying about the shit. But what Eagles fans got to stop doing, okay? Jalen Hurts has done too much. Let me tell you right, when a motherfucker... You know how many bad injuries this guy done played with? Talk about the Rams game in the playoffs where he had a bad knee injury. He should have never played. Played through it anyway. You know how many times he played through a possible concussion? The man was on Scott Van Pelt starting like a mother. Like, yo, this can't be Jalen Hurts. So he played through concussions. He played with bad knees. He played through injuries. Like we seen that Chicago game in 20. Like the dude plays with heart. Always have been. And then there were some times where, matter of fact, why didn't this get any publicity? There was a time where I don't know, Jalen Hurts ran up to go block recently. I think it was in the Giants. I forgot which who he throw the ball to, whatever. But Jalen Hurts actually ran up to go block. Jalen Hurts throws a Hail Mary and runs up after it. And then he was like, yo, I hate losing. Super Bowl MVP. The best player in 2022 should have won MVP. And I don't like how they docked him. I think it was jealousy and politics. But they docked him for missing those games. But Hurts was the best player in football in 2022. Hands down. Y'all gonna say otherwise because y'all, once you on board the Jalen Hurts hate train, you gotta stay on there. Here we only got one rule. Never ever let it cool. Keep it cooking in the pot. And then you got hot chocolate. Y'all niggas gonna stay on board. Even if Hurts have the goddamn cure to common cold. You niggas gonna stay on board with this Hurts hate train. But these Eagles fans, some of y'all, a lot of y'all, you guys gotta calm the fuck down. Because when you're in a dysfunctional play calling system, you can't expect Hurts to throw it on the Superman cape all the time. He tried to do that in Denver. The ref screwed him over. Okay? He did it in the Rams. He led us to victory. Plus the blocked field goal. 2 of them. But he led us to victory. Calm the fuck down. He got us a Super Bowl. Just got us a Super Bowl MVP. Eagles fans, relax. Hurts has done too much for this organization. Now, granted, if you want to have a conversation about what would McKee look in this offense, I'm not going to blame you. Fine, have that conversation. But let's not have that conversation go as far as to say that number one, who has earned his right to be a starter for this ball club, let's not diminish what he's done for this goddamn football team. Okay? We could hold him accountable for the things that he didn't do well on Thursday, and I'm okay with that. We could say that, okay, Hurts, I need you to step it up and be more consistent with your play, right? Because we know what AJ is going to bring. We know what Devon, we know what Saquon's going to bring for the most part. And again, Saquon, this is not really his fault. This is just the fucking ineptitude of this play calling and thinking you're going to run through a fucking defense or the middle of a defense. It can never work like that. No NFL defense worth their fucking salt is going, or no defense worth their salt, period, is going to allow you to keep running through the goddamn middle, okay? So it's not going to happen. So I don't blame the skill set for Saquon is, hey, listen, if Saquon fell off, he fell off. Saquon not struggling because he fell off. Saquon is struggling because this offensive play call between Sirianni and Batullo, they don't know what the fuck they're doing, okay? So here's the thing, okay? I want to make this very clear. Let's have a conversation about McKee. And also, here's the thing, too. I would like the same scrutiny as Hurts, because when Hurts played bad, see, I told you he wasn't top 5. He's not even top 10. I told you, see. And Jinxie Cat. You can make all these dumbass faces in the camera. I told you, I know ball. You don't know shit, nigga. You don't know shit. You just doing shit for your reactions or whatever. You don't know shit. You barely even know how to entertain. Granted, so you like little dumbass follow, whatever the case may be. You don't know shit, nigga. You don't know nothing. You're just talking out your ass. You just doing things because hating Hurts is popular right now. So I'm going to talk shit about Hurts. So I'm going to make all these fucking faces and shit like a fucking mime and think that you're funny and entertaining and yell at a camera. I told you, trust me, I know ball. Okay, you fucking fake ass sorcerer. Like, nigga, nobody give a fuck. Nigga think he one of them, what they call them goddamn crystal ball, them like, what that nigga, you're not that. I don't look at you like you're to me, you're a Twitch streamer. You're not a nigga that like, I look at a kid like Chase Colburn. Shout out to Chase Colburn. That's the mother. You want to talk about people who know football? Chase Colburn, that 14-year-old kid that's a Ravens fan, that's a dude. Hopefully, I'll actually low-key want to collab with him too. Cause he know his shit. Like, I want to talk to people who are intelligent. That 14-year-old kid knows more than about 80% of NFL fans. Probably even knows a little bit more than me. Okay, I'm an entertainer who just love football, love talk about football. But that man is ProReferenceFootball.com and a human body like Chase Colburn. He knows ball. You don't know shit. You know how to stream. Congratulations, you played yourself. But nah, you know how to stream. But all this, I know ball. You don't know shit. Fuck out of here. But nah, Eagles fans, chill out. Hurts is our quarterback. I wanted to stay that way. He has more than earned the right to do that. But I would like the same scrutiny, NFL fans, for Josh Allen, who's made bad decisions, who did not have a good game. And I want the same scrutiny for Jaden Daniels. And even though, yes, he just got back off an injury, so the season's still young, let's have the same scrutiny. Let's not just sit up there and just get all Hurts. Because I'm going to be honest with you, and this is the truth, and you could disagree with me all you want. You're entitled to do so. But I'm going to keep it real with you. If you feel like that Hurts is not our quarterback after all this shit that he's done for this football team, bro, I'm sorry to tell you, you're not an Eagles fan. Straight up. Because the difference between us and everybody else goes off of NFL highlights. Everybody else listens to social media posts and retweets. Everybody listens to mainstream media. We, real Eagles fans, we read all the articles. We get news posted on our Twitter feed and all that we read through. Like, real Eagles fans are seriously invested in their football team. We don't do this little dumbass shit where we just react, where we just listening, and because a lot of these people just think about it like this, bro. We're only talked about because of who we have on our team, and because we've had success getting a Super Bowl and this that we've had success. If we had no success, then nobody would talk about us. We would get no airtime. We're getting airtime, and it's polarizing because we're winning, not because they're covering things fairly. We would get no airtime. If Philadelphia was not winning, or we didn't have the players that we had on our team, we would get no airtime. There would be nothing. Nobody would talk about us at all. So I urge you guys, bro, like, chill. Jalen Hurts is our guy. Okay. Now, have y'all opinions about how I want to rank out the quarterbacks in the league compared to him? Have y'all opinion? Have at it, right? But when we talk about who is the franchise quarterback for the goddamn Philadelphia Eagles, it's Jalen freaking Hurts, and don't y'all forget it. And if and listen, if you don't think so, bro, go find another team to go support. And I so mean that. And there's nothing wrong with breaking up. Oh, well, how would Tanner McKee do? We can have those conversations, but let's not have those conversations get too far as we're diminishing and disrespecting Hurts because he's made about 2 to 4 bad decisions in one football game out of this whole goddamn year, knowing the ineptitude of the coaching and the play calling. Okay? But it'll be very interesting, and I'll be watching as the day goes along, as the week goes along. I'll be watching to see if they're going to keep that same energy with Josh Allen and Jaden Daniels. It'll be interesting. That's it. I wanted to watch some interviews and some highlights, but I got a big ass mouth. I like to talk. I talk a lot. So we did not get a chance to do that. Tomorrow, it will be less of the yapping. Okay, I put it to you like this. Tomorrow, we will go over our weekly picks like we normally do. Okay? Definitely important. Definitely got to do that. Matter of fact, do we have time? Let me see something real quick. Let's just do this very quickly. We're not going to have time to go through the whole thing, but I do want to see when is the last time. Shit, I think that's me right here. Whoa! All right, all right, all right. Real shit. Let's go to the videos. What's the name? Let me know. I gotta get up out of here. The fuck is wrong? Why I keep doing that shit? Hit Giants recap more. Okay, good. All right, so tomorrow, we'll get rid of this shit. It's annoying me. Tomorrow, we're gonna start off with the weekly predictions, and then I promise you guys, it's nothing but interviews and NFL highlights. That's what we on. All right, I'm out of here. Peace. Right.